Well, hey there, hi there, ho there. You're viewing my channel, Chronically Heather. I'm Heather. If you're watching today's video, then maybe you're interested in gallbladders. Are you? Because I had a hyperkinetic gallbladder, and I am going to go ahead and discuss my journey through having the symptoms up to, surgery consultation, surgery, and post-op. But this will be divided into two videos, so if you're interested in staying and learning about my experience and what I can share with you, go ahead and like this video, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. To all of my returning viewers who may come back, thank you to those of you who went and watched the HIDA Scan video and now are coming over to this video. I appreciate your views, and also I just want to thank my new subscribers from 2024 for helping me get to 185 subscribers as of today. So like I said, right now you're in part 1. I will be posting part 2 soon, and hopefully you'll see it pop up at the end of this video if I have posted part 2. This is part 1. This is where we will go through my pain journey and up to my diagnosis of having an overactive gallbladder called hyperkinesia or a hyperkinetic gallbladder. Okay, so this is for those of us who have a high ejection fraction. Mine was 95%, right? Yours could be very high too, but pretty much if it's over like 65%, then it's considered to be a little bit overactive, and then it just gets worse as it goes up. And then it can be a low functioning gallbladder if it has an ejection fraction below that 35% mark, okay? But for me, I experienced having a high ejection fraction, which came to be a hyperkinetic gallbladder. So this is my journey. I posted a lot of information on my personal Facebook page. So I actually just went back in time to 2022 to where I first started posting about my gallbladder problems, and we're gonna go through those and talk about them. I figure that would be the best way to like jog my memory. I haven't read these posts in like a year, so it was definitely really interesting to go through them and just like re-evaluate from a different perspective and seeing the way that I did some research and it turned out to be accurate. So before we dive into the Facebook post that I'm going to share with you, I do want to let you know that before this post, which was I believe in November 2022, I had been experiencing pain in the upper right quadrant for like a couple months, maybe since like September 2022, and it just wasn't very consistent. But then one night it just was constant and it wouldn't go away, and I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad, like what is wrong with me? And I was advised to go get checked out at the emergency room, and that is where we're picking up. This one is like back toward the start of my symptoms, and it is dated November 18th, 2022, and I said I've been debating on posting this because I feel like I'm just full of problems and no one wants to read about my issues. But then I'm also like, Heather, you have people that care about you who would want to know what's going on. So I'm having issues with my gallbladder, specifically the function of it. I had an ultrasound done in the ER a couple weeks ago and it showed nothing emergent. I was in so much pain, but the scan showed nothing that needed surgery right away, like gallstones. So I was sent home with anti-nausea medicine and told to contact my primary care provider. So I saw my primary care provider, and it says that he is convinced that it's the gallbladder and that it isn't functioning correctly. I'm being referred for a HIDA scan where they inject a radioactive liquid into my veins and then watch how the sphincter works within the gallbladder or something like that. The scan takes 1.5 hours, so eventually I'll get the call to schedule that. In the meantime, I have to figure out how to eat more of a low-fat diet because I'm in pain and nauseous all the time. Some days I throw up out of nowhere and it sucks. That actually still happens to me frequently. I have a referral for a surgeon, but I'm not scheduling anything until I get the results of the HIDA scan. Does anyone else think of Hydra from the Avengers and Captain America? I think it's Hydra. Is that what it's called? LOL.
My doctor also told me, oh yeah, okay, so like I needed to take folate and B12 for energy and iron. And then I was just asking for some positive vibes because I was talking about how if I had to have the gallbladder removed, it would be my 9th surgery. And I wasn't, looking forward to another surgery. But after that post, I did another one on November 30th, 2022, 12 days later. And I was just saying, tomorrow is my HIDA scan appointment at the hospital. The nurse said it's 2.5 hours long with an IV going in, fasting for 4 hours before the procedure, and then it'll hopefully tell us what is going on with my gallbladder. The next one that I did to Facebook was December 2nd, 2022, which obviously is just days later. And I said, my HIDA scan was pretty easy yesterday. It was a portable machine, and I was on a bed with a plate over my abdomen instead of being in a large tube. So when I had looked at them online, I saw people like getting into a big tube similar to like an MRI machine. But the one that they had, I just laid on a regular like gurney, and then they brought in the plate and positioned it over my body. So it was not as like claustrophobic, it was just the plate over me, and I was just in a room like watching TV. Unfortunately, SVU Law and Order was on, and I'm an SA survivor, so kind of had to like zone out while that was on and not pay attention to the TV in the corner. I forgot about that, but yeah. Okay, so what else did I say? Okay, an IV was inserted, and it was a 2-hour appointment. Halfway through the appointment, I drank a boost drink. I think that's what, is it diabetics drink it, or is it for like elderly people that need some kind of supplement? I can't remember. So I drank a boost, and then I went back under the machine plate thingy. I got my results back, and I'm waiting for my doctor to review them and get them back to me. I don't know what they mean for sure, but from what I researched regarding my numbers, I might have an overactive gallbladder. I guess a low functioning gallbladder has an ejection fraction of less than 35%. Based on what I learned online, an overactive gallbladder has an ejection fraction of 75% or higher. Mine had a rate of 95%. So yeah, not sure what to make of all that without talking to my doctor first. Unfortunately, I've been in constant pain since my appointment yesterday. I'm hoping the pain resolves soon. Okay, so then later that day, December 2nd, because of all the pain that I was in, I was able to get a virtual appointment with the doctor on, like over the phone, face to face. I said it took a couple of hours of trying, but I finally got through to a virtual doctor, and she recommended I go to the emergency department to get checked out. And I said, bleh. I said, I hate the way I'm treated in the ER, but it's not like anywhere else can check me out and determine if something urgent is happening in my body. I'll just suck it up and go in. This pain has been ongoing since yesterday around 1 p.m. when I drank the boost for the HIDA scan. It got worse and worse, and it spread from one area to around my side, and is affecting both the front and the back of my body where my liver and gallbladder is. I searched through my prescriptions, and I found and took a ketorolac, which is a strong anti-inflammatory, and I found that it really helped with the pain, which makes it that much harder to force myself to go in to get checked out. I'm not hurting like I was since the medicine kicked in, but I still feel the pain, just dulled some. Sorry for the rant, just needed to vent, I guess. I don't want to go to the ER tonight, and I feel like being a baby about it. Wham. I'll talk about this one in just a moment. Let's go on to December 3rd. I said I just got back from the ER. I'm fine. Once again, they found zilch wrong. Now they're thinking IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. I said, I just want to talk to my primary care doctor so bad to discuss the results from my HIDA scan. I guess I could have IBS, but it doesn't seem to explain the upper right abdominal pain that keeps coming back. I cried so much tonight from frustration. I hate going through this crap. So over it. Sorry, not in a great mental state right now. And I just apologize because I really don't like sharing like the negativity and stuff with my Facebook family and my Facebook friends or whatever. Yeah, and the December 2nd one, when I was debating on going to the hospital, I had taken that ketorolac and it helped obviously with the inflammation that I was experiencing in my gallbladder. And because I was feeling a sense of relief, I didn't want to go to the hospital. I don't know about you, but if you've been to the hospital several times or lots and lots of times over the years, they don't really respect you. And it's like I have this history of going in and like being compliant and doing all the things right as far as I'm concerned, and yet they still treat me like I'm a drug seeker or something. And I have talked to, some nurse friends about that, especially one nurse friend, and she's the one that explained that to me, that they don't know like who's going to come into the hospital and like get the drugs that they need and then like rip out their IV and then just bail. I'm like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, first of all, I didn't know people did that, but second of all, I have a long history of going to the doctor and having chronic issues, so there's no reason why they should suspect or treat me that way if they're actually looking into my history, my medical history, like they claim to, right? Am I the only one that feels that way? I don't know. It seems to make sense to me, but it's definitely not how I'm treated when I go in. So I really only like to go to the emergency department, like if it's a dire situation. And because I didn't really understand if I had an overactive gallbladder or what that really meant, I was encouraged to go and get it checked by the virtual doctor, because I guess if you have like gallstones or an underactive gallbladder, it can cause it to build up and like I think it can burst. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that before I just leave this in, but I know that there's different issues that you have with an underactive, a low functioning gallbladder as opposed to a hyperactive gallbladder. And at the time I didn't really have it confirmed as to what it was, and when I went to the hospital, they were like, you're fine, like there's nothing wrong with you, you have a 95% HIDA scan, clearly you're good. And they treated it like it was like a grade system, with 95% obviously would be an A if you were grading in school, and it was like you got an A, you're good to go. And they did not recognize that it was hyperkinetic, that it was overactive, and that it was squeezing super hard and causing so much pain, and it was also inflamed. And so we can get to some talk about that as we get through this and closer to the surgery date. Right, you got the bad right, you got the bad right to say. Okay. The next update I gave to my Facebook friends and family was on December 13th of 2022, and I said gallbladder update. Surgery consult is officially scheduled for February 9th. So that was December 13th. Wow, that's almost 2 months away. He said, we shall see what happens. They reviewed my chart and test results before they agreed to see me because they're scheduling so far out. Hopefully they'll help me since they're agreeing to see me. Then December 9th, then December 19th, 2022, I said, it feels like my literal stomach is spasming inside my body right now. What an odd feeling. It's been 10 minutes already. I feel it in my right upper abdomen too. It's not painful, just distracting and intense. I keep reading that it's the GERD causing it when I Google what I'm experiencing, because I have that now too. which I guess was true. They did diagnose me with GERD, but nobody was like, hey, by the way, you have GERD. Like, all of a sudden, it was just in my, like, diagnosis, which they do to me frequently, which is irritating. They'll just, like, give me a diagnosis and not tell me about it. Anyways, and then I was talking about how my phone was auto-correcting when I was typing and how it didn't know everything I'm about to say. Anyways, so I was irritated. The day after Christmas. Ooh, day after Christmas. That means there was some food to be had. I said we had a lovely Christmas dinner yesterday. I substituted low-fat items where I could, but I still dealt with a gallbladder attack shortly after eating. I probably could have done better, but the meal was delicious, and I'm glad I felt well enough to make it all by my onesie. So yeah, by that point I had started substituting low-fat foods where I could, because I didn't know what would and wouldn't upset the gallbladder, and I knew that the traditional thing for gallbladders is like a low-fat diet to help all the bile like not build up and be terrible. But it didn't really matter what I did or didn't do, because the organ itself was diseased, and it would just it would literally like spasm, and so it was causing me pain no matter what I had.
And I just am gonna go ahead and share a clip from one of my videos where I am talking about what I did to get the referral to my surgeon, and that was informing my doctor that I realized that the 95% ejection fraction wasn't normal and wasn't a good thing, and I turned out to be right.
So my doctor at first was seeming to just tell me that my results were normal. He responded to my test results in a message, and he said that the test results were normal and that I had moderate GERD. But other than that, that's all that he said. So I started messaging him, and I told him that I joined a Hyperkinetic gallbladder support group, and that I was learning that my symptoms were very normal for what I was experiencing regarding the gallbladder, and that I wasn't alone in it. And I asked him if he recognized the condition, because not all doctors do. I guess it's kind of a controversial thing. So he never actually responded back to me. He just sent me a referral to a surgeon. So my husband was like, he was just done with you and he wanted to wash his hands of the problem. But I don't know if that was the case, or if like he researched it some himself and learned that, you know, it is an issue. I really don't know what changed his mind from telling me that it was a normal gallbladder ejection fraction to, you know, actually referring me to a surgeon a week later.
So I do want to add that if you are a Google person and you like to Google to try to figure out your diagnosis, to line your symptoms up with possible diagnoses, you know, obviously we aren't trying to self-diagnose, but there's nothing wrong with going online and gaining legitimate medical knowledge, because the doctors don't always stay up to date with things. They're not keeping current with new research and new developments all the time, because I guess there's just so much to keep track of. So this one right here, like the hyperkinetic gallbladder, it is an issue that my surgeon explained to me has been ignored widely for about 30 years in the medical community, and then nobody's really been acknowledging it. So you may find that you hit some walls in your journey of trying to get to a surgeon if you do have a hyperkinetic gallbladder, but if you do want surgery because you want that relief, and that's the route that you feel you need to go, like I did, then I suggest that you really advocate for yourself. There's a lot of good sites where you can find legitimate information so that your doctors can't refute you and say that you're mistaken or something, because there's like .gov sites. So I am planning on sharing some support groups from Facebook in the comments, the gallbladder support group and then the hyperkinetic gallbladder support group. Again, if you have dyskinesia, then you can look up dyskinesia gallbladder support group to find your specific symptoms, but those are the two support groups that I was in, that I found information from, and it's good to educate yourself so that you know how to advocate and what's wrong when they say, oh, you have a 95% ejection fraction rate. So that's normal. That's like an A, right? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Okay. And also, I do want to note that I do know that for some people, diving down that rabbit hole on Google and researching your symptoms and stuff, it can really cause issues and give you ideas about symptoms, or not symptoms. It could give you ideas about diagnoses that don't even apply to you, that you don't have. It can scare you into thinking that you're dying. So just be wary, but definitely educate yourself, because there's nothing wrong with knowing what they know. We have so much research available online now, and it's pretty, easy to verify the sources by going to like Mayo Clinic or WebMD, those kind of websites, because they're going to give you accurate information. Well, that overall is my little spiel on how I feel that Googling your symptoms and lining everything up can be really helpful for you personally with communicating with your doctor.
So then we jump to February 18th, 2023. So this would be 9 days after I had the appointment with the surgeon. So let's see what I had to say. All right. Surgery to remove my gallbladder is scheduled for March 15th. So that is just a month away. Okay. From this date, not from here, right? I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, sorry. Okay. March 15th. I'm not happy to have another surgery, but I do want to relieve this horrible constant pain. A healthy gallbladder releases 35 to 65% of its contents at a time. So it's like a moderate squeeze on the organ and everything is fine, right? It's just, and then it ejects the bile. Alright, so a low functioning gallbladder causes the organ to barely squeeze when releasing the bile, and gallstones and sludge can occur, which causes pain and symptoms, and the gallbladder can burst. Oh, so I was right about the burst thing. Okay, because this is what the surgeon told me. And a high functioning gallbladder causes the organ to squeeze really hard, and mine is releasing 95% of its content at a time while causing pain and symptoms. But mine will not burst because it's not overfilling. My surgeon explained everything well, and I like his attitude and demeanor. He said it was completely my choice to remove it and gave a 90% success rate of relieving symptoms. He explained how my condition has been ignored for the past 30 years in the medical community, and they're just getting studies done on biliary hyperkinesia, which is overactive gallbladder, right?
Alright, so that was all the pre-op stuff. In the next video, we are going to go over my pre-admission visit, my surgery visit, and the recovery process. We're going to go over how it was at home, things I went through, like having a suture inside my body tear and the excess pain that I was experiencing, and also like restrictions and stuff. And then I also am going to show you some photos of my surgical wounds through the healing process. There will be like a graphic content warning before I show the photos, and also I'm going to share some tips on things that you can do to help yourself stay more comfortable after recovery, things that you can buy that will assist with that also. So I look forward to seeing you over in part 2. Please go ahead and give this a like if you appreciated the content. Thanks so much. Bye.